Final Fantasy VII is a special game for many people, myself included. For a number of people, it was an introduction to anime boobs.
I'd buy that for $1.
Or, I mean, Japanese RPGs. While clearly debatable, 7 is regarded as one of the greatest RPGs of all time. Regardless of your first impressions or long-lasting memories of the game, there truly are a lot of great things to take away from 7 as a whole. For the Switch port, this also holds pretty true. This is Danny from the Famicast, and today we're taking a look at Final Fantasy VII on the Nintendo Switch. Now, if you have any interest in this game or checking out this review, it's pretty likely that you've played the game before. And with that said, you probably know, for the most part, what to expect out of the story. The game does have a lot of tropes that we all know by heart, like things like, hey, Cloud has amnesia, who am I? Like that type of stuff. But, at the time when this was originally released, the game was pretty much unlike anything I'd ever played. I thought it was funny, too, just the cursing that was laced throughout the story, kind of covered up with these random symbols, and then, of course, some of these screwed-up situations that the characters would find themselves in were just really eye-opening. It's by no means a highbrow narrative, but I found the characters, then and now, endearing. I like Barrett being a bit of a meathead, Cloud just being the perennial loner, Sephiroth as the biggest goddamn maniac, and then just a whole slew of other optional characters that you could have to join in your party. If you're looking to relive the story that you might barely remember from 20 years ago, you can't go wrong here. While Final Fantasy VII on the Switch does retain this crude, low-poly look of the original, it is cleaned up a little bit here visually. Similar to Final Fantasy IX, which we also did a review for on the channel, and you can check that out if you haven't already. While in towns, caves, etc., things like that, the game features these polygonal characters navigating through pre-rendered backgrounds. Now, the cleaned-up character models, they look pretty fine, but seeing them on these backgrounds really makes the game kind of show its age. FMVs also suffer a little bit from being somewhat low-resolution, too. The battle sequences, for the most part, look fine, and with the character models appearing sharp and animating pretty well. Overall, the visuals are kind of a bit of a hodgepodge of old and new, but I really didn't have a problem with it. The game's soundtrack is awesome, and there are tons and tons of memorable, great tracks here. And as of right now, there is a small glitch in this version of the game where the music kind of gets screwed up after entering battles or like houses and stuff like that. So in the original release, the overworld music would pick up from where it left off before entering one of these type of things. So that, you could eventually hear the entirety of the track. In this current version on the Switch, the tracks reset afterwards. I mean, it's kind of annoying, but honestly, I probably wouldn't even have noticed that if there wasn't such an outcry about this all over the internet. For me, this doesn't really ruin the game. It's just a thing that happens and will probably eventually get patched out. Gameplay and the systems found in 7 have always been one of my favorites in the series. I enjoy the relatively quick pace of the battles, and have always found the limit break system to be pretty intuitive. Namely, I like the different options that you have for your limit break actions and attacks. I thought that was pretty cool. Finding and optimizing materia can be challenging, but when you level it up and are tearing apart some of the tougher enemies in the game, it's extremely satisfying. Now, similar to Final Fantasy IX on the Switch, 7 has a few quality of life improvements to make the game more playable on modern platforms. Gamers are able to turn on the 3x speed mode, and obviously increases the game speed. You can turn off random battles, and you can activate nearly infinite limit breaks. These all can be very, very helpful. I know for me personally, ever since I played Bravely Default in the 3DS, I felt like I couldn't go back to older RPGs. If you don't know, so in that game, basically they had this type of a thing, especially with the turning off random battles. So I would get into the habit of grinding a little bit to gain some levels, but when I wanted to get on with the story, I'd just turn off the random battles just to get to where I needed to advance the narrative. I kind of been playing Final Fantasy VII the same way. Basically, story grind, story grind, story grind. And all of these options, the 3x speed, the random battles turned off, infinite limit breaks, these were all really beneficial to making me feel like I can enjoy 7 on my own terms. Final Fantasy VII on the Switch isn't a perfect port, but there are definitely a lot of positives to walk away from here. The appeal of this version of the game is obvious. You can easily take the game on the go and play it on the big screen whenever you want. Be aware, there are some issues, namely some minor annoyances with the sound and maybe graphics for some people, but if you can overlook these small flaws, 7 is more accessible than ever thanks to the portability and the gameplay enhancements. My final score for Final Fantasy VII on the Nintendo Switch, 9 out of 10. As always, thanks for checking out this video. If you like what you see, please give us a like. If you're new to the channel, please feel free to subscribe. We got tons of podcasts, video reviews, special videos, and a whole lot more. Also, be sure to sound off in the comments below. Are you a Final Fantasy veteran? Do you think 7 is awesome? Do you think it's overrated? Sound off in the comments below. We'd really love to hear from you. Again, this is Danny from the Famicast. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you later.
I'd buy that for $1.